All right, good evening, everyone. You are all welcome to today's mock OET mock exam revision class. We organized this mock on the 30th of October 2022, and some of you really did well. I agree that at the later end of the whole thing, in listening towards question number 40, 41, and 42, my Wi-Fi was accidentally disconnected, to be honest. So, and there wasn't any need to now start playing that part, because really in the exam, when the tape starts, it just continues till you get to the end of the exam. Yeah. So that's the way it works. And some of you really did well in that listening, despite the challenges. I think I had someone got 380 in that listening. Yeah, someone got 380 in that listening, and that's really encouraging. Then, because the way the listening is, that's exactly the same difficulty you are going to have on the exam day. The same difficulty you are going to have on the exam day. Anything that you just heard and you think that's what they said, just choose it from that where you usually have options A, B, C, D. That's not the time you start deliberating. If you're not very sure, the first one that your instinct just tell you, oh, this should be the one, just go for it and pick it, and don't try to cancel it unless you are very sure that wasn't what you heard. This is what you heard. Otherwise, if you're not very sure and you're picking any option, just go with your first instinct. All right, coming to the reading, I think the highest score in reading, I'm not with the, I didn't bring the marking sheet here, but I think the highest in reading was also 380. Or did anybody score more than that in this class? I think the highest was 380 in that reading. Yeah, most of you really tried very well. Those of you that scored above 350 must have passed their reading part A very well. Yeah, for those of you that didn't do very well, unless if your part B and C was terribly bad and you passed part A, yeah, I think there was someone that didn't get up to 350, but she really did well, although not very, because if she has actually scored very well, let's say up to like 19 in that question A, she would have passed, because the parts B and part C, the person didn't really perform very well. Yeah, but the thing is this: just try and identify your weak point in that reading. Just as I usually say for you to pass listening and reading, part A of both reading and listening is usually your strongest point, because if it is in listening and you're able to get 24/24 in your listening in part A, you will just be looking for 6 marks to cross. But let's say something just happened, you were not able to hear very well, you were able to get 22/24. You will just be looking for 8 marks to cross to get 350. Yeah, well, if your part A is very weak, maybe you got 15/24 or 16/24. Part B and part C of both reading and listening, they are trickier, yeah, compared to part A. So you now be struggling, and it will really be very difficult for you to pass that exam. So if your exam is already very close and you feel your parts, you are not really doing very well in reading, I would just advise you focus more on the part A to get, at least if you can get even up to 20 in that part A, then you struggle the remaining 10 marks for reading. While for parts for listening, the same thing also applies. So what you are going to do today, we are going to start from the nurse's task we are going to start from the nurse's task of what we did in writing, so that I will just highlight some mistakes that some of you made in that writing for nurses and also for doctors. Okay, so let me just try and bring out the case notes so that we'll review it together.